Welcome to the Explainer. Look, India's entire tax system, it's about to get a massive shakeup. We're talking a radical overhaul. Today, we're going to break down the huge changes just announced by the GST Council, and most importantly, what it all means for you.
All right, let's just dive right in. The single biggest headline? It's all about simplification. A massive simplification. You know that complex four-rate GST structure we've all been dealing with? Well, India's moving away from that to a much simpler two-rate system.
So this new simple tax framework, what does it actually look like in practice? Let's get into the details.
Okay, so the new system basically breaks down into three clear categories. First, you've got a low 5% merit rate for all those everyday essential items. Then there's a single standard rate of 18% that's going to cover most other goods and services. And finally, a special higher 40% demerit rate for a very select group of, well, luxury or sin goods.
Now, for the part you've probably been waiting for, how is this actually going to impact your wallet, right? Your monthly budget. So let's talk about what gets cheaper and what's about to get a bit pricier.
Check this out. 0%. Yep, you heard that right. For the very first time, some of the most essential food items are going to have absolutely zero GST.
And what does that mean? It means your daily staples, things like packaged milk, paneer, and yeah, all those Indian breads we love like roti and paratha, they're all going to be tax-free. Seriously.
But the savings don't just stop there. Oh no. Beyond all those zero-rated items, there's a whole huge list of common household goods that are also getting a pretty significant tax cut. I mean, just look at the scope of this. We're talking food items like pasta, coffee, and butter. Household goods, soap, toothpaste. All of them are dropping down to that 5% rate. And it doesn't even stop there. Even things like bicycles and small cars are set to get cheaper. That's a big deal.
Now, of course, it's not all tax cuts. On the flip side, those items in the demerit category, they're going to get more expensive. Taxes on things like aerated drinks, pan masala, and the bigger cars are jumping up from 28% all the way to 40%.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. These reforms are also bringing some really significant relief to a sector that, let's be honest, affects every single one of us, healthcare.
And this right here is a massive takeaway. The Council has actually recommended a complete GST exemption gone on all individual life and health insurance policies. The whole idea is to make insurance more affordable and accessible for everyone.
And it gets even better. We're talking 36 specific life-saving drugs, including ones for cancer treatment that are now completely tax-free. And all other medicines, they'll be taxed at just 5%. Even your everyday medical supplies like bandages and glucometers are getting that same tax cut.
Okay, so this relief package, it also extends out to India's agricultural backbone. There are several key changes here aimed squarely at providing some direct relief to farmers.
So key farming inputs are about to get a lot more affordable. We're seeing GST on tractors, harvesting machinery, and even the components that go into making fertilizers. All of it is being slashed down to just 5%.
So, we've talked about consumers and farmers, but these reforms are also about something else. Cutting through all that red tape and just making it easier to do business, especially for traders and small entrepreneurs.
For instance, there's a new optional simplified registration scheme being introduced. And what it promises is pretty cool. A totally automated 3-day registration process for small and low-risk businesses. That could be a game changer.
And to make sure taxpayers get a fair and speedy hearing, a dedicated GST appellate tribunal is going to be up and running, hearing appeals by December 2025. This should give businesses a much quicker way to get any tax disputes resolved.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but when? When do we actually get to see these changes reflected in our bills?
Well, get ready to mark your calendars. The new rates for pretty much all goods and services will kick in starting September 22nd, 2025. One little note, though. The rate hikes on those demerit goods, like pan masala, well, that's going to be announced at a later date. So when you boil it all down, the goal here is crystal clear. Create a tax system that's not only simpler for every single person, but also stronger for the economy as a whole. The changes are set, the dates are on the calendar, but the real question, the big question, is this. Once this all rolls out, will we actually feel the difference in our wallets? And will we see it reflected in the nation's growth? That's what everyone's going to be watching.